Hi, welcome to Rental Sheets. This is Dave, the founder and developer of the Rental Sheets product, and this is a quick overview of the Capital Expense Tracker. The Capital Expense Tracker is used to track your capital expenses for your property. Your capital expenses are expenses used to purchase the property, or they're used to make improvements to the property. Now, it's important to note that there's a difference between improvements and repairs because each of those are treated differently for tax purposes. An improvement is any expense paid to improve the property, better the property, or restore the property. Now, according to the IRS, an improvement could be an addition, a new roof, new windows, new HVAC system, kitchen and bathroom modernization, new flooring, among other different improvements. These type of improvements are capitalized and then they're depreciated over the useful life of the improvement. Now, repairs, these are generally maintenance items that do not add significant value to the property, but they're necessary to keep the property in livable condition. These would be painting rooms, maybe fixing a leaky faucet, replacing a broken window, and repairs like that. Now, unlike improvements, which are depreciated over time, you can deduct the full cost of the repairs in the tax year that the repairs were completed. I have posted a link below this video to the IRS's website, which you can use as a resource and a guideline to help you delineate between what an improvement is and what a repair is for your property. Also, when in doubt, make sure that you talk to your accountant. So now that we know which expenses qualify as a capital expense, let's talk about how to record an expense to the capital expense tracker. The first column on the capital expense tracker is the date the expense was paid. It's important to input this date information so you can calculate the expenses paid in any given year. Once you input the date, you can input a brief description or memo of the expense that was paid. For example, our first capital expense was for purchasing the property, so we made a brief note about the purchase. Next, you can select the expense type or category from the drop-down menu, which will be used to organize and categorize your expenses into separate expense categories. This drop-down menu is pre-built with a list of typical expense categories, but you can change and customize these expense categories on the category setup sheet. Once you select the expense category, the final selection is the vendor that was paid for the service. Categorizing your expenses by vendor will help you track how much you've paid to each vendor for each year for 1099s during the tax season. You can set up your vendor information on the vendor setup sheet, which will automatically feed over your vendor information to the drop-down menu. Once you select your categories, you can input the quantity and the amount of the expense paid. Now, the quantity is going to typically be one because you're typically just going to be making one payment, but if you had multiple quantities, you could input a value other than one. The amount column is the amount of the payment. Once you input the quantity and the amount, the quantity is multiplied by the amount to calculate the total expense amount. The total capital expenses paid are then calculated and tracked at the top of the capital expense tracker. Now, the capital expense tracker has some other cool features that allow you to sort and filter the expense information. Along the table header, you will notice there are some drop-down arrows, and these drop-down menus allow you to sort and filter your expense data by date, by category, or by vendor. To sort your expenses by date, simply click the drop-down arrow in the date column, which will give you options to reorder the expense items by date or allow you to sort the expense data by a specific date range. You can also sort by expense category or by vendor. So if you wanted to review all of your expenses paid to a particular vendor in the year 2017, you could sort the expense tracker to show that information. Once you input all of your capital expense information, this information feeds to the capital expense reports, so you can create professional accounting reports and provide it for your accountant for your annual taxes. If you have any additional questions about the capital expense tracker, please shoot us an email or give us a call.